if you have a question about something, to possibly get some help. The next thing that you can ask, you can always rise and call to a point of information. And you can basically do this at any time, and this is basically the same type of instance. It's not really that you're asking about parliamentarian procedure. You just have a question, and you would like to be addressed for that. So they may be cooperative, okay, and address your question, but again, they do not have to address your question. This can also be done when someone actually has the floor, and you can try and interrupt the speaker, okay, and ask them if you may ask the gentleman or madam a question. And this is typically done when you want to, maybe get to a little more in depth of what they're trying to either say or what they're trying to state in their motion. And sometimes it can cause a stir of debate that may get the rest of the people in the room or a bigger majority to come your way if you can actually ask that question. Now, again, it does not need to be granted, but it is possible to have it granted. And typically the speaker will ask whoever has the floor if they wish to seek the question. Something else that you need to keep in mind, and I know I'm getting a little off track here, Indy, but you should always address your questions to the speaker. You are not to address anybody personally in your assembly. That is considered a big, big no-no. So when you're asking a question or you're calling your points of order, okay, or you're making objections, it always needs to be done to the speaker. All right, how are we doing on time now?
We got 7 minutes left in this segment.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Then we're doing fine. All right. Something else that people need to be cautious of that I've heard about is, and I could be wrong on this, but my understanding is that after they had elected the delegates, they decided to move to adjourn the meeting and basically cancel any other business that is there. Now, a move to adjourn cannot be done, okay, when a vote is on the floor or if a vote is being verified. That is absolutely out of order, and if they try to do that to you, you need to immediately stand and call to the chairman for point of order again, to bring order back to the floor. Because I don't know that these things are going to happen. I'm just trying to prepare you for some of the things that I thought they may try to do considering the hostilities that we've faced already. And to actually have your move for adjournment, you need 50% plus one. So it's only a majority of the vote to adjourn the meeting. Now, keep in mind here, people, we've talked about this before, that if you are the minority and you're sure that you're the minority at your convention, I am strongly going to suggest that you don't try to be overbearing about Ron Paul and your views. You got to remember that your ultimate goal here is to get elected to the next level as a delegate, to hopefully get to the national level as a delegate. Because if this thing does come down to the delegates voting at the convention, this is our only shot that we have to get Dr. Paul the nomination. So swallow your pride a little bit, which I have a hard time doing sometimes, and just kind of go with the flow. Okay, try not to stir any trouble. Of course, I'm not saying don't get involved. You should absolutely get involved and interact with these people. Again, not everybody in these conventions and these parties have neocon attitudes. Some of them are just normal people, and they just typically vote the way that the rest of the group votes because they are the minority, just like you were. But some of these people can actually be changed to be the majority along with you. If you just show them and some respect, okay, and basically just put your views out there, and hopefully they will agree with you. There still are some people out there that believe in freedom and liberty and, abiding by our Constitution. We just need to wake them up sometimes, is I think what the real issue is. But if you are the majority at your convention, I would absolutely be vocal about who you support and why you support them. Because
that's brilliant. That's great. That is, I think, just one quick comment. I think that's a very, very important distinction to make. If you are in the minority, keep your mouth shut. But if you have control of the convention, take the other delegates along with you. Get them into your side by letting them know what you're there for. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and see, that's the whole thing, Indy, because, see, people don't like to be isolated. I've talked about this before. It was either Harvard or Yale or Stanford or one of those universities did a study. And I happened to see, and this was probably 15 or 20 years ago that they did this. And they would put 8 people in a room. And 7 people were in on the experiment, and 1 person was the guinea pig. Now, they would put up like a cardboard graph, and they would pass it around the room, and they would say, and there'd be 3 lines on it. And they'd say, I want you to tell us what line is the longest. Well, of course, the 7 people that were in on the experiment picked the same line, and not just the same line, but deliberately picked the wrong one. And the guinea pig, in the beginning, with great enthusiasm and excitement, would pick the correct line. Now, after about 4 or 5 times of this happening, you can actually see the demeanor in their face change, the enthusiasm in their voice go down. And after, 7, 8, some people it took 12 or 13 times around, but they deliberately started picking the wrong line with the rest of the group because they did not want to be the isolated or the outcast. So I want you to be vocal if you are the majority there, because that sends a statement to the rest of the establishment that we're here and we're not going anywhere. And we're going to let you know that we're going to fight for freedom. Okay? And it doesn't even necessarily have to be about Dr. Paul. Just let them know you're not going to take the crap that you've been taking for all these years. You're going to reform the party back to what it used to stand for at one time.
Excellent.
That's extremely important. Go ahead, Andy. What were you going to say?
Well, we got 2 minutes left, so...
Okay, then I'll just finish up on this. This is kind of inspirational, I think. Again, people, if you're the minority, go with the flow. If you're the majority, I want you to be vocal and let them know that you're here to stay and you're not going anywhere and you're going to continue to fight until this country and that party gets back to where it should be. And let them know that you are the government, not the politicians. You people that are there making the difference, you're the government. And we talked about this on one of your shows, Indy, on how we've lost track of that. America was left to the people, not the government. And we have actually failed as the American people because we failed to get involved and let our voices be heard. And this is why the government has been able to take control the way that they have from us. So it's us that have failed. But we do have a chance to bring it back to its roots if we just get involved.
All right. Well, they are getting involved, and I think they're getting more and more involved. And I think that the successes of those who are already involved are, encouraging some who perhaps were involved and then believing the mainstream media sort of slipped into uninvolved. And I think that with what you're doing here today, what we need to do is we're going to get this all on some kind of audio format and just try to distribute it as widely as possible. And it's going to help people be more involved. I guess that's the way I'll conclude, because it is time to conclude, because it's time to go to a break. And folks, this is betonronpaul.com, and the value of your bet is going up by the minute under the tutelage of DrSteveParent.
Welcome to the Ron Paul Revolution. Ron Paul Revolution Radio. Here comes the revolution. Well, now it's the approach phase of it. Ron Paul Revolution Radio on the RPRradio.com. The Ron Paul Revolution is on the rise, and you don't want to be left behind. Tell everyone you know to go to RPRradio.com. RPRradio.com and be part of the revolution. While there, sign up for the Ron Paul Revolution email list. For special events and programming, we're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. Ron Paul Revolution Radio. Ron Paul Revolution Radio.